How's it going, everybody? I'd like to talk today a little bit about the idea of transformation and initiation. When we gather together in our circles, it's quite common that people will begin to talk about initiation, transformations that take place in our lives, and inevitably one of the metaphors that comes up again and again is that of the butterfly or the moth. Creatures that start their lives as one form go through a huge transformation and emerge on the other side as something completely different, almost unrelated to the thing that they were before. And I've been really thinking a lot about that lately, seeing the changes that are going on in our world and the changes that my friends and myself are going through at this point in time. You know, the caterpillar starts its life out as basically an eating machine, and it spends its time gorging itself in preparation to enter that cocoon stage. Once it's in that cocoon stage, it's completely broken down into a genetic soup, completely unrecognizable. It's not that the caterpillar develops butterfly wings, it's that the caterpillar is completely removed. And then out of that mass, out of that unrecognizable genetic mass, a butterfly emerges. I don't know if the caterpillar envisions the butterfly when it crawls into the cocoon, but it does seem that there is some intangible force that drives the whole thing, that guides the process. I did some research just quickly out of curiosity to find out just what the percentage of butterflies that emerge from the whole process really is. And I found out that it's anywhere from 2 to 8%. I read a blog written by an entomologist who said that monarch butterflies, for example, lay anywhere from 300 to 400 eggs. And if that takes place in its natural environment, where it's exposed to all the stresses of its home, out of that number of eggs that are laid, only 6 to 8 eggs actually make it through to the butterfly stage. And I think about my own home life and the home lives of some of the people I know who were exposed to abuse, were exposed to all kinds of stressors in their lives, codependency, alcoholism, addictions, whatever. And it got me to thinking just how many people actually survive that, or are actually able to transform and to heal. And so, like the caterpillar, we spend the early parts of our lives just in the midst of all that, taking in all those experiences, some positive, sure, some negative, mostly. The abuse, the anger, the fear, the rage, the guilt, whatever it is. And we feed ourselves on that, on everything. And a lot of us don't make it out of that. We stay trapped in that cycle, and we never go beyond. But then some of us get the call to step off into the unknown, to emerge into that place of quiet, emerge into that place of healing, of transformation. That sacred space of difficulty and pain and wonder. And it's there that everything that we know is stripped away, where all the lies fall away. Everything that we've become, except the truth of ourselves, is broken down. And it's painful, and it's difficult. As a friend of mine once said, I don't know if there's anything that exists within the cocoon except screaming. It's a frightening thought. Transformation is frightening. Ordeals are frightening. And so we step into that place of the unknown and we lose everything that we've convinced ourselves that we are, everything that's false. We turn it over. It breaks away. And it leaves us in free fall sometimes. And there are some who won't survive that process. Some will go mad. Some, like people I've known, will end up committing suicide. But those of us who continue to do our work, who continue to turn it over, and who eventually retain contact or regain contact with that hidden force, that higher power that drives everything, that guides us through, not in a cognitive way perhaps, but in a way of spirit, in a way of heart. When we begin to put our faith in that, eventually we emerge through the other side. And the thing about the butterfly is that it squeezes itself out of the cocoon through this tiny pinhole. And as it does that, it squeezes the water out of its wings. And then it sits, exposed to the sun and the wind, wings as open as they can be, until they dry and the butterfly is capable of flight. If you were to cut a cocoon open in order to help the butterfly through the process, its wings would be rumpled. Its wings would be useless. They'd never fully form because they would carry so much water, so much liquid inside them that they would never fully be able to dry, and so the butterfly would never be able to fully transform. Sometimes we like to help other folks through their transformations. We enable them, and we keep them from completing their transformation in the process. And so that's what we're called to do, to squeeze ourselves through the tail end of this painful process, to remove every last bit of whatever we were, whatever needs to be left behind, so that we can emerge into the sun, wings open and ready for flight. Till next time.